Greetings, everyone. Nate the Nerdarch here from Nerdarchy, for nerds by nerds. And today we're going to be playing Episode 2 of my Holds in the Moridane campaign. That's my pay-to-play game that I've started. And with me I have a selection of adventurers.
Hello, tonight I will be Kinnaid Dunadan, a hearty dwarven fighter. Well, maybe not so hearty these days, but he's doing his best.
And I am Silverthorn, a female wild elf ranger. She is forced to leave the tribe for reasons which will be discussed maybe later. She's dressed in leather buckskins, and she's armed with a longbow.
I'm going to be playing Gambit Fireshine. He's a gnome cleric, and for his size, he packs a pretty heavy punch.
And I will be playing Aravan Fireforge, half-elf sorcerer, although no one knows that. I'm a guild merchant.
And I'll be playing Bard, half-elf cleric wife, who currently would like to have a bath, I believe.
Well, yeah, after your wash-off in the stream, it just wasn't quite enough. Alright, so where we left off was last night and yesterday you checked out what was going on with Darlene's issues with someone messing around with her collection of black gold, as she calls it, which are bricks of this bricks of peat moss. And you had a tussle with some mud monsters that were eating some of that in the wagon corral. Then you went on to have a drink after you washed off in a stream from that encounter, and we hung around in the inn talking and discussing things with people. And as you were going off for bed, another incident occurred with some fire elemental creatures that animated these wood bits into these flaming stick figures. And you also had an issue with some kind of watery ice creature hurting Stephen, the cook of the inn. Thankfully, no one was grievously injured, as you were able to save everybody from the area, even though you were not able to save the section of the inn where the cooking and entertainment is done. But luckily, the way station inn is very ancient, and part of that includes an area that they have a stone portcullis that separates the stone and ancient section of way station inn and the wood and very not permanent section of way station inn. So perhaps that was just simply an add-on from the ancient building and whatever purposes it served long before it became way station inn. We left off with Silverthorn scanning the roof, being on the roof and scanning rooftops in other areas of the actual Stationton town to kind of see if there was anything strange going on. And I believe other people were getting some rest, much needed rest, and if anything is different, let me know.
I'd like to suggest, since we're just sitting outside, maybe heading over to the library where we can rest up and in the morning study, look up like where these things have come from before heading out to the swamp.
Wouldn't they be closed this time of night?
I have a key.
Oh, well then.
He's a librarian.
That's a stupid question.
I'm sorry, I'm a librarian as well.
He's a librarian with connections. You can discuss amongst yourselves. That is a possibility. So discuss amongst yourselves where you're going and when you're going. The inn is still kind of smoldering. It's not quite gone, and it's not quite out. People are still fighting the fire.
Well, if the fire's still going on, I would like to, try to help. So,
okay.
Whatever we got to do that.
Just remember, you were dragged out. We need to find out.
Oh yeah. Sorry, I'm almost dead. I forgot.
Yes, I think two of you are unconscious right now.
Yeah, sorry, I forgot.
I'll probably go about healing the party then.
Okay.
Whoever's in need.
That's right, Gambit. You were knocked against the bar, but you weren't unconscious.
No, I didn't take much damage there. That barrel exploded, though. That was I'm surprised.
Well, steam explosion, water and fire, lots of fire.
I got a little bit of frost damage from that water thing, but I'll shake that off. So don't worry about me.
Yes. Eravin and Bard, you're both unconscious?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, that's correct.
Gambit, you're going to take care of them?
I will. Did you want me to if I just took the time to do so, would I have to? You want me to take a roll on that, or?
Oh, it depends. Are you going to just do medicine, or are you going to heal them of any hit points damage?
Yeah, no, I'll probably just medicine on them.
Okay.
Just to, just.
Okay. Gambit,
Yeah.
the gnome, tends to the both of you, and over the next hour, you're able to, if you would like, use your hit dice to regain hit points. You're basically taking a forced short rest because you're being taken care of. You're at 0 hit points, and you've got an hour to waste because you're unconscious and sitting around. So,
Well, I'm going to go, since we're sitting right here, I'd feel like a real bum if I didn't help them try and put out the fire that was started while we were there.
okay.
So I will pitch in with the bucket brigade, and that way, if any more of those little things come out of the embers, I'll at least be right there to deal with it.
All right. That'll work. So we've got Kane helping with the fire. Yes, people are basically handing you buckets and handing you full buckets. They're going up the line, and then you're getting empty buckets in return. And that goes on for about an hour.
Yeah, if nothing shows up in like 10 minutes, I'll go down and start helping with the buckets also.
Same thing. It's about an hour's worth of bucket brigading there. And at a certain point, they feel confident that the inn is going to survive, at least the stone segment of the inn. And they just simply push over any bits of wall that they can see that's still smoldering, but they'd rather it fall into the burnt out inn than fall out of it. So they're pushing over anything that would be precarious and may fall on people. So people have long poles and they're shoving over the wooden segments that are not quite burned out husk pieces, but may be a hazard later. So they're shoving it over and piling it up. And pouring water upon that, and once it's not too smoldering and the fires are all out, you hear kind of everybody sigh, like, oh, okay, we're done. Everything is as okay as it can be right now. You see from earlier, Darlene, she is tending to Stephen, and she's also tending to the boy who you helped in Silverthorn. And he is being led up to the side entrance to be able to go to bed. Anybody that had a room in the inn, they are still there, and you can access them, but you have to go into the side door of the stone housing rather than the burnt out husk of the inn, because that door is remaining closed for now. The hour has passed. Eravin and Bard, you both have regained whatever hit points you decided to roll for your short rest. Bard, you're now conscious. You can now tell them whatever plan you would like to talk about.
I was going to suggest that maybe we head over to the library. It's only a couple miles over. We can rest there. I have a little room in a storage room I fixed up. And in the morning we could research these mud and fire and all these creatures. The lady had said that they'd been in stories of the past. Maybe we could find out something about that before, if we decide to go to the swamp.
Sounds like a plan to me, because I don't have a room in the inn.
You just got to upgrade, Silverthorn.
Well, as long as there's something softer than the back of my wagon bed, that'll be fine.
You know that there's extra places for lounging and relaxing and sitting at the library, so at worst, you can prop a couple pillows up someplace.
We'll just have to make sure to clean up after ourselves and not make a mess.
Ah, well, yes, of course.
And we haven't been attacked by paper methods yet.
So we can't throw two ruckus apart, is what you're saying. That's fine, I guess.
Hey, Nate, was the stable damaged at the end?
No, the wagon stable was not damaged.
That's where my horse is, I take it?
Well, there's the wagon stable, and then there's the place where they keep the horses. Yeah, that's completely disconnected. It's not attached.
Okay. That's all I want to know. I just want to make sure my horse is okay.
Normally, you would think that the inn and the stable would be very close, but in this case, because of the nature of how much traffic comes in and out, they decided that that didn't really make sense, and they'd rather have people walking instead of a giant traffic problem with wagons going in and out, people going in and out, and horses being led in and out.
Got it.
So there's a staging area where the wagon station, well, where am I looking for? It's a place where you keep horses. Stable. So the wagon stable. Yeah, let's just call it the wagon stable. So there's the wagon stable, there's a staging area, and then there's the actual stable for horses and other beasts of burden. And that's disconnected. That wasn't in danger of being lit on fire from the fire.
Okay.
I mean, we can fix that, but for now it's okay.
It could have been had that lantern gone someplace else during the fight. Well, before the fight. Anyway, you can go off to the library. The library is down the lane, the main road, about 2 miles. So it's not right in, let's say, Stationton proper, but it is within walking distance for the evening.
Sounds good to me. I'll walk along with Bard.
Okay. It is a dark night, so anybody that has issues seeing in the dark, you don't really see very well, but it is enough moonlight to be able to walk with confidence without turning an ankle or something like that. You arrive at the abbey, which is the Astor Abbey, and it is dark except that there is a candle in one of the windows. And the abbey itself is a grand place. It is probably larger than the stone area and the wooden area of Way Station Inn put together. It has a gate. It has large stone walls, 5 or 6 feet tall, that surround the entirety of the property. And inside there is also gardens and other things. You can tell that this was at first a noble's estate very long ago.
Before we go in through the gate, and I turn to Bard and say, "Now, Bard, some weird shit's been happening here tonight. So I want you to look around real careful. Tell me if anything's amiss. You understand?"
Would I roll perception, or is it like a passive perception thing? What do I do?
He just asked you to be mindful if something has changed. You heard that part?
Yeah, I mean, I guess I'd look around then, and before, I guess that makes sense. Before we even go in the gate, just look around and see in the courtyard and whatever.
Okay, well, the gate's latched. It's not locked, but it is latched, which is normal. You close it and latch it every time you leave or when you enter. And the one light source isn't that out of place. It just means that Helene is probably up late, maybe organizing things or just simply reading.
Yeah, I'm not really expecting anything, but we were attacked twice in one day. Silverthorn's a little jumpy.
So as you walk up through the garden path, there are different fall flowers and flora about the place and bushes and other things. You can see that there's anybody with knowledge nature identifies readily, or medicine identifies readily, plants that you would use for that purpose, as well as some other plants that they don't recognize, maybe for eating or for seasoning or for some other type of medicine that you aren't familiar with. And as you get up to the front door, there's a large door, arch door. There are 2 parts, and each part has its own latching system. So, Bard, you're just going to open it up and head in? You don't see anything out of the ordinary?
Just in case, I'll just unlatch the top part and peek in. It makes sense.
Okay.
I guess stealthily. No, I won't do it stealthily. I'll just screw that up. Yeah, I'll just look in to the top part.
All right. You don't see anything out of the ordinary. You do hear some kind of humming in the background, and you do see things, different things moving around on the shelves. Like the books look like they're being moved around. Possibly by magic. You're not sure.
Is the humming normal, or is it out of place?
It sounds like Helene's voice.
Okay. I guess I'll head in.
Okay.
And see if she's in there working or something.
All right. Yes. As you head in, you hear the humming stop as well as the book stop moving, and you hear, Bard, is that you?
Helene, is that you?
Of course it's me, she says with a laugh. Who else would it be? But someone entering a door at strange witching hours of the night. I was hoping it was you, Bard, but I wasn't sure.
Well, given the night I've had, I didn't know who it could be. I'm just glad it's you.
Oh, I'm glad it is you as well. I heard some ruckus down by the town proper. Is everything okay there?
Not if you had any plans at the inn.
What happened?
First, let me introduce you. I've got some friends here. We had a bit of a run-in with some things, and we wanted to look it up. Maybe gather ourselves. I need to change personally into some cleaner clothes, but
You do still look a little damp. Did you fall in the river? Then she kind of gives you like a squinty-eyed examination, getting pretty close to you. She says, "And wait, you said friends? You didn't tell her the inn burned down. You just said if you had any plans at the end, don't worry about it." Right?
yeah.
Okay, I wanted to make sure I didn't miss that, because she would react to that. Okay, so you said friends, and why are you still kind of damp looking? She gets close to you with her hands, but she doesn't touch you, and she draws her hand back and says, "Show them in. It must be some kind of circumstances if you're saying that something's wrong with the inn. So please come in. We'll figure it all out. I'll get something to drink for you all." So she goes off to the kitchen area of the abbey to prepare something.
Now you're talking.
You all heard outside that pretty much you had the go-ahead to come in.
Then I guess I'll go in. Wipe my feet before I go in, though.
Gambit's going to make his way in. He's just finishing tucking a few of those herbs that he noticed on the way into his pouch as he goes.
Yeah, I'm gonna go inside and try and find some of those mythical pillows that may or may not exist, and see if I can find a comfy spot.
All right.
I'm going to go in. I'm still really hurt, so I'm going in and going to, like, kind of lean against the wall or find a place to sit and try to feel better. I rolled a 1 for my hit points back, so...
Well, it's a good thing that there wasn't any killer paper elementals. You'd be
Exactly.
sunk.
Oh, one thing. After everybody's in, I'm going to make sure the door is shut and latched as well as I can latch it, just in case that would be any sort of impediment.
Okay, and Bard, you also have the key if you would like to lock it.
Yeah, I'll go ahead and lock it up.
Okay. Bard, you're familiar with this scene that you see before you? Basically, but for everybody else who has not been here before, there is sprawling cabinetry as well as bookshelves. Some of the cabinets look quite old, as if they have always been here, while many of the bookshelves look as if they've probably been made within the past decade or so. And you can see that the cabinetry, the older the furniture seems to be, and furnishings seem to be, the older the books within inside that are contained within. In the corner, there is a door that leads to, well, Bard, you know that it leads to the supply area and your personal area, and you also know where to access other sheets and clothing and pillows and such. And you can see that there are several different lounging chairs and kind of day beds throughout the area that you're allowed to kind of lounge upon or sit upon to read, and those will service for a nap to get you through to the next day.
Is there by any chance a fireplace?
There is indeed a fireplace.
I carefully walk up to the fireplace and investigate.
It is actually, there is wood there, but it is not lit. It is sitting as if it is ready for the next day.
Okay, I poked it a couple of times at the logs. Nothing happened.
Seems like dry seasoned wood to you.
I'll just give it a dirty look, then walk away.
It does actually seem a bit off, as if it was used, possibly should have been used last year, but it is being used this year. You can tell
that's unusual.
It's older wood, and it's definitely not cut within the past couple months. Or 6, it's been more than a year since that wood has been cut and felled. You can tell that simply by all of your understanding of woods and stuff like that.
I'm going to go ahead and let them know I'll run to my room, get some blankets and pillows and whatnot, and go ahead and change and then bring that out for them.
Okay. Helene comes back out with a tray with different things on it. Dry cakes and other things that you would drink with teas and herbal drinks. And she sets the tray down on one of the tables, the short tables, and says to you all, in kind of a person who's not used to being a hostess, says, go right ahead and serve yourselves whatever you like. And you can feel free, as long as you take off your armors and things, feel free to sleep wherever you may in here. Just don't use any books as pillows or things like that. I don't know what you would do, but just don't do that. And then she walks off.
Well, thank you kindly for your hospitality, ma'am, but I'll just keep my leathers on. But I'm not going to sit on anything. I'm just going to crouch or sit down in the corner over there.
She points to one of the corners. Yeah, if you're going to keep your things on, then you can just be right over there. It takes a lot to clean these things, when you get all this oil and leather smell. She said, well, I'm going to finish up for this evening, and I will see you all on the morrow. Well, later today. She looks outside.
Thank you very much, miss. Please have a very pleasant evening. We'll try not to be any problem.
We appreciate it. You've been very gracious.
Oh, you're all very welcome. And she walks off. Aside from strange noises that you didn't think a stone abbey would make, the night passes uneventful, and you awaken refreshed, though a bit crunchy for sleeping in weird things.
Before anyone notices, I would like to have a quick look into that sack that I grabbed from the burning inn before it went down.
Okay. There is 6 gold pieces and 32 silver.
When I wake up, I'd like to start trying to look up the amulets or whatever they were.
Okay.
And the mud and fire and water guys that attacked us.
All right, well, what does everyone else want to
do? I'd like to aid him in his research.
All right. And the rest of you could really sleep in if you wanted to. I mean, or you can help with research, or you can go off and walk around wherever you'd like. So you're going to spend several hours researching things, and you kind of were prepared for that. You knew kind of where to find the information, but you weren't exactly sure which books. So you take about a dozen books out, and about the 8th or 9th book in, you find what you were looking for. these creatures are elemental in nature, and while you haven't seen the exact variety that would light wood on fire and give it motion, you think perhaps that is just simply a variety not captured in the literature you've read so far. But you know that they are elemental creatures, and that most likely they arise either from a natural magical environment, some of an environment that's been enhanced by magic, or a magic circle and summoned by a specialist in the field, or a wizard that just dabbles in things that they probably shouldn't mess around with. Now, if you had found them without any of those summoning discs, well, binding discs that you see, then perhaps you could just say that it was a natural occurrence.
Are there any groups that are known to use this, or any rituals that use these summonings as like peons or whatever?
You know that they can hang around greater elementals, and you also know that you can find them in different wizard towers or laboratories based on the experimentation that the wizard would be doing, the spellcaster would be doing. And normally it's somebody into summoning and magic circles and other things, conjuration.
All right. I guess I'll go ahead and let the group know what we found. Apparently, somewhere in this swamp, there's either a magical spot or a wizard messing around.
What? Huh? Is it time for breakfast?
I think it's about time for dinner.
Oh, man. Nate, we should be back to full health, right?
Yes.
Okay, just checking.
So everybody's back to full health, and if you have used your hit dice, you gain a hit. You gain it back, basically.
Okay, cool. Question from what you just said: is there any known wizards around here that do that kind of thing? Wizard towers or anything like that?
There are not any known wizard towers in the area. There. You know that some of the Merchant Circle Guild practices magic, but that's more for the protection of cargo, the shipment and movement of things, as well as some combat based on necessity.
Right. Okay.
But you would not say that there's not any known prominent towers in the area that you know of. So either the wizard is being secretive, it's some kind of weird fluke, or there could be another reason why. Either you do not know of this tower, or
Well, at first I was a little suspicious of the swamp, because that's where the first batch may have come from. But then we were attacked in the tavern. Now, Kenny's wagon was at the stable, and Kenny was in the tavern. So I got to ask Kenny, you make any sort of enemies we should know about?
Not like that. My enemies usually are of more of the normal variety. Well, actually, that's not entirely true. We had an encounter a while back in which there was a creature that was not really like these, but it was. It was elemental. This is not easy to talk about. We were hired to do a job, and it was out in the mountains near them, in the north, and a couple of weeks from here. But anyway, they sent 120 of us. So obviously it was something that was important. When we arrived, we weren't aware that we had arrived, but the creature announced its arrival by laying into our forces. And, well, let's just say that of the 120 of us that went in, less than half that number came out. And we didn't even kill it. I took its arm, and if you go to our guild hall, but it's up by Astoria, so it's not going to be convenient. It's still hanging there right now. It doesn't decay. It just stays as it is, just kind of taunting you, like it's we just separated it from the body, but it could still do harm if it wanted to. And Kenny still has his armor off. He hadn't put it on yet. Kind of lifts his undershirt, and on his chest you can see trail 3 claws that it's still not quite healed. And he says, "And I got this as it was running away. It just was trying to run past me and just brushed me aside. Didn't even try to attack me. If it had tried to attack me, I'd be dead." I don't know what it was, but it was a creature of ice and darkness. It's the best way I can describe it. I see it in my dreams. It's just ice and darkness, and it had no mercy. Anyway, that's all I really know. And that's the reason why I'm here today, is not wanting to remember exactly that. So, now you know. And I guess I'll have some more of that. Do we have any fortified tea?
Helene was actually waiting for, while you were talking, she came out of the kitchen area, came to the doorway and waited until you were done speaking, and then walked over and gave you something. So this should help, dear. It smells really good, and it smells strong.
Thank you, lass. You're a beauty, yar. I will drink that down. Thank you very much.
She smiles and gives a little nod.
Slancha. Oh, that's nice. That's very fine, that is.
She clears her throat. Well, I'm not used to cooking for so many people, but I do have some food that you can eat, and then if you found what you need, then I guess you can be on your way wherever you're going. She quickly skirts out. You can tell she seems anxious, as if she doesn't like the company, but she might just not like any company, not necessarily that it's you. So she comes back. She comes back out with a tray with different types of sweetened breads and things, as well as warmed but cured sausages and a bit of cheese, and some more of the watered down yet strong herbal mix. And she sets all that down, and she quickly hurries off and back into the kitchen area.
Well, I'll grab a sausage.
All right. Get your meats while you can.
Definitely grabbing food.
I'll help myself.
Food sounds good right now.
Yeah. So, Bard, from the harrowing tale that Kine told you all, you did not see any reference to such a creature. But you know that it's not too far-fetched to consider that a creature like that could have also been summoned or existed under the same circumstances as these. But you would have definitely noticed if a creature of that magnitude had been in the area, because there would be a lot of dead bodies.
Yeah, definitely.
We didn't see anyone else with that thing. It was just that thing. But then again, it kind of held our attention, so I guess something could have been hiding, but I still don't know where. We didn't see any summoner or evidence of anyone else. So it still begs the question of who's bringing these things.
Well, I know I'm keen for a wee bit of exploration. If anyone wants to go check out this swamp, I'd be interested.
Is the swamp in the same direction and to the north? All I wrote down was it's 3 miles down to the left is the swamp from the person they told us.
Yes, it's 3 miles south, and then you would make a left off of the Merchant Circle path, the Merchant Circle Road.
Well, if he encountered the big one to the north and we're getting him from the south, we may already be in the middle of it.
Well, first of all, we don't know anything that these are related, and second off, why are we going to a swamp again?
Well, it's actually a bog, a peat bog.
Okay.
Well, the original thought was that maybe there's something out there where she picked up that peat from. That was before we got the second attack. Or there might be something out there where she got the peat bog. If worst comes to worst, we could load up Kenny's wagon with this black gold that they call.
Well,
Right.
but is the property ours?
Well, the way these city folk work, unless there's a fence around it, it's sort of like, first come, first serve,
Okay.
I believe that was the understanding.
There are, through your merchanting that there's a certain radius area around places that may be considered common, and the people that are given access to it either through special permits or just go ahead by the local council usually are able to just go down and tap those resources to gain raw materials, and then they can deliver those raw materials to markets. So for this example, most likely Darlene has permission to access that part of the land, or the land may be so vast and no one has claimed it. Stationton is the closest town, so they may have just simply claimed that area as a resource for them. You're not too familiar with the boundary of the different towns and estates, but you would think that's probably how it works. But you probably should check just to make sure.
I mean, we should probably ask the lady, and worst comes to worst, we could offer to, bring back some black gold to replace what was destroyed by the methods. Why am I suggesting going to a swamp with purpose?
Something must have lighted a fire under you.
Fine.
You're suggesting it because there's no tavern left in this town. So we got to go to another one.
But there's no tavern in the bog either. Just the smell of peat. If you smelled peat, well, you did briefly, but it smells like shite. There's no getting around it.
Oh, sure is a way of getting around. Just don't get close to it. Or you don't know nothing about that, I understand.
I got plenty of close. You're the one that seemed to avoid it. Not that that's not smart. I'm just saying. But anyway, I don't really want to go where we can find more of those mud creatures. What'd you call them? Methods. But fine. If you're dead set on doing something, seems like the only place we have to go. Because I'm really not keen on going back to the mountains where we saw that thing. I am not ready for that yet. Not at all.
Well, that is quite a long travel north.
Thank goodness I would suggest we go there too. Fine then. Let's go to the bog.
Well, I think we should talk to the lady first and see what she says.
Well, yeah, that's what I meant.
In my research, did I find, are the little methods drawn to anything? Like, is there something in town that would have drawn them to them, or are they only summoned and then do whatever they want?
Well, you have several options or avenues of thought with this. They could have been just naturally functioning in the area, but you saw those talismans on them, those medallions, though those seem to be broken or fading. So there's that bit, as well as you saw the mud mephits shoving as much black gold into their mouth as they possibly could handle, and some even more than that, to swallow down big gulps and mouthfuls of the stuff. So they were definitely eating it.
I think the first step is to head back to town, assuming it hasn't burned down in our absence, and see if we can find Darlene.
Sounds like a plan.
Yep, let's go.
As we're walking, a thought pops into Kanae's head. You know, when we found those things were eating the peat. If they'd been eating like that all the way into town, it would have been gone before we got here. I'm thinking those things got into the peat when it was here, not when it was in the swamp. I think all the problems were here. Not that I'm trying to say we don't go to the swamp. I'm just thinking it through now that my head's a little more clear after that herbal drink. Everything happened here. And the methods, if they feed on it, maybe they just found a food source and went at it. But if they'd been at it since the swamp, I think she would have noticed before when she got to town. She would have been attacked while she was driving the wagon.
So you're thinking we should examine her wagons if she's still in town?
No, I think where we found them was just chance. I think that whoever summoned them has to be somewhere nearby, but I don't think they were born or summoned to the swamp and then rode the wagon all the way in without eating anything and then decided to have a snack once they got here. I don't think that happened. I think she would have been, she probably would have been killed, on the way to town if they were on the wagon the whole time. That's just my thought. I don't know how the magic works, but
well, that does sound somewhat sensible. Of course, I don't know much about how to find things in towns. It's not really my area of expertise, if you know what I mean.
You knock on doors, I suppose, but I don't know if we're ready for that yet. But
either way, the first thing is to talk to Darlene.
You are right about that. Let's just keep walking.
So as you walk along the way station road that heads through town, and this section of the Merchant Circle, you notice that there's still a little bit of smoldering going on with the sections of the way station inn that were burnt down. And to the right, you see a whole bunch of hustle and bustle as the merchants seem to be getting a late start for those who are leaving, and for merchants that are coming in, wondering and getting the news that they're going to have some difficulties getting something to eat right now. Due to the issues with the section of the inn burning down. And you see Darlene amongst them, and she seems to be around her two carts that had the bricks of peat within them. Looks like she's calculating and writing some things out, trying to figure out things.
Well, who's good at talking to people then?
I think you are.
Sure, that would be me. Fine then. I'll walk over toward Darlene and say hello again. Top of the morning to you.
At first she doesn't seem to hear you, and then she goes over the start and says, "Oh, I'm sorry. Good day, Kanae. I'm having some issues. Again, a lot on my mind. I'm trying to make different calculations and things. You know how it is."
Sure, I know the difficulties of being a merchant. I recently became one myself. But I didn't want to really introduce you too much. But we had a question for you, if you don't mind, about the swamp and the mining, not the mining, but the harvesting of the peat and all that, and how that works. Because we had a thought about going out there in case there's more of them things out there. And we wanted to know if, when we do that, if it would be possible to harvest some more peat for you to make up for what you lost.
As you're saying you're going to go down to the swamp, she seems like, oh, yeah, it's a shame that I can't. And then when she sees that you're offering to go over there, her eyes go wide and she says, "That would be perfect. That's exactly what I need. I can't possibly make the shipment in time, and I have a quota to make, or I might lose this customer. There are other bogs, there are other places to get peat. I can only sell the brand of Stationton's peat so hard to them. I'm sure they'll go someplace else if I miss this shipment this time. And I work by myself, for maximum profits, work by yourself. And I get all the job done, but it takes me a good month to get this amount together." She lets out a big sigh and says, "That would be wonderful. I would be willing to pay you some gold and owe you a favor, if you know what I mean."
I wasn't really thinking we'd be there for a month. How much is it that you need?
Oh, she comes over and claps you on the shoulder. "I'm sure even if it's just you probably work so fast and can cut so much. You'll probably be done within a day." She gives you a little, nudge. I'm sure you have no problem with it.
Oh,
But
shite.
if all of you are going, and she kind of looks at, you guys are still kind of mingling together since you all walked up. So she saw the direction you came from. She's like, "Well, if you're taking a few of these people along with you, I think you won't have any problem. And you already dealt with those creatures already, right?"
Oh, yeah, they're the experts. I'm just on guard duty last. He's the merchant, and she deals with nature and stuff, and I would consider all this peat to be nature stuff. So I'm going to consider her the lead harvester, farmer. What is it that you call someone who brings in the peat? I don't know. But anyway.
I like to call myself a black gold acquisitionist.
Black gold.
She gives you a smile and a wink.
She's in charge of the black gold, and he's in charge of all the financial terms. That's what he does. He's our dealer.
Ma'am?
Erevan, is it? I think I recall seeing you around plenty of times. So how about would you say, merchant to merchant, we say, "I'll give you 50% of the profits I expect to make. When those profits come in, if you guys can make up the rest of my shipment." Guys in elf lady here can make up all the rest of my shipment.
Nate, just is that a reasonable deal from my experience?
You're doing.
I don't know. Kelly doesn't know.
She definitely seems to be just cutting you in on the deal rather than trying to make money off of you.
Right. Okay.
You overheard her talk with Kane. She's definitely trying to just make the person happy who's going to be receiving the shipment. She wants to make sure it gets there on time.
Seems like an acceptable deal, since we want to go investigate anyway.
No, we really don't.
Great. I'm so glad that you all can go out for that. Again, whatever I make off of it, I'll give you 50% and about the couple weeks that it'll take for that to come back to me.
Couple of weeks.
Excuse me, ma'am.
Well, it's a while up to Azoria, so Astoria.
Excuse me, ma'am. Ma'am?
Yes.
Is there some sort of special tool? Because it looks like you got these nice little brick-shaped things of dirt, and I don't know quite how to do that with my bare hands.
Oh, that's right. I almost forgot. You're going to need these things. My pappy made them back in the day. And she takes out these big, long saws. And they seem to be very well oiled and maintained. And they're probably as tall as you are. And very sturdy. And pointed at one end. And she says, "Okay, you take it like this. You take the one end and you hammer it with this mallet until it's into a certain amount, and then you wrench it back and it cuts into the peat. Now you want to make them square. You guys can square rectangular bricks. I'll give you one as an example of what the quality I'd like to see." So she comes back with the mallet. She's got two of these really honking saws, and she gives you a picture perfect mud brick. It's I just transferred all of my one cart into the other. I'm going to need this whole entire cart filled up. So if you're down there, as best you can, filling it up would be great. because I need to get at least half this full, and I'm really concerned with getting attacked by those creatures, and, well, it's been a long month of me harvesting all this stuff, but I think 5 people together with the right kind of combat expertise that you all seem to have, you'll be just fine.
I really was hoping not to fight the Pete, but that's what it takes, I suppose.
Well, I mean, I was never attacked by those creatures, but I mean, if some of them show up, you'll be able to deal with them just like you dealt with them already.
You didn't notice any of these creatures out in the bog, did you? You just noticed it when you got to town and you noticed that somebody had stolen some, or in this case, they ate it.
Yeah, I've never seen any of these creatures down. I've heard tell of some stories of mud creatures in that area, but I've never seen them there before.
That is very good news.
Yeah, and I've been working the mud for years, and I've never seen them.
Well then, I guess we should be off then.
She says, "Oh, thank you again. You just don't know how much I appreciate this."
So she's loaning us her cart and horse, or mule, or whatever.
Yeah, she actually has an ox.
I will spring up into the wagon and commandeer the ox.
All right. It just kind of looks back a little bit, but doesn't seem to really care.
Now, I also have a wagon. Do we want me to be taking that as well, or do we just want the one wagon?
Well, you want to cart off some more mud bricks for yourself?
Well, if we're going to be out there anyway, take my mind off of larger issues on the fact that I'm broke. All of those combined make me thinking that, if we're going to be out there doing the work anyway, if we've got the time, we might as well make some extra money. But that's up to everyone else, of course. I'm happy to transfer some of my stuff into this wagon for the trip, but just a thought.
If your wagon is empty, we might as well fill both.
I'm sure Erevan can find a buyer if we bring back extra.
All right, so it's decided.
Of course I can.
Oh, sorry.
No, just was agreeing.
Okay. So you gather the 2 wagons together. You've trained them up with the ox, and he seems pretty docile, doesn't really care about much of anything, and very easy to lead and take around.
And just so you know, Nate, I have 2 mules for my wagon.
Oh, yes, okay.
So they can help.
I'll make the ox my friend, I guess.
Okay.
Just kind of passively there.
He seems to not pay you much mind. He seems fine with you.
I'm taking my horse because I had enough walking. Thank you so much.
All right. And
that's why you ride in the wagon.
I'm going to bring my own horse.
I'd like to get in the non-driver position behind the ox in that wagon. It'd be a good place to manage from and not get in the mud.
that wagon's not too clean. You might want to try and get in Kinay's.
My wagon's clean mostly.
The mud wagon's probably not the best place to be.
Silverthorn will walk.
So guys, we better keep an eye out on whatever the heck these things are that were attacking us. So I don't think we need to keep an eye out, because I don't know why we've been singled out. But that's twice in one night is scary. So
well, just to be fair, and not wanting to feel like I'm marked, we did kind of walk in on those methods, eating their snack. That didn't seem to be directed at us. We just interrupted them. And I don't know about the tavern thing. They just seem to be there to cause general mayhem. I don't know. I don't think the only reason they attacked us first is because you were right next to them when they popped out. Perhaps, maybe I'm just playing devil's advocate or being hopeful. But,
I did have the same thoughts.
But we definitely need to be on the lookout. You're right. And that's what you and Silverthorn will be good at while we're on this trip, while we're getting there, because I've got to drive one wagon. So everybody, we just got to keep our eyes peeled.
All right, you head down south along the Merchant Circle Road. It is extremely well maintained. As you leave the gates, you notice that the area is crisp, and the road is very straight, and overall, you would say it is probably the best. Any other road you've seen, it is not as well maintained as this and upkept. And as you travel along, the sun is a bit overcast, but it's high in the sky. It was raining during the night, shortly after the fire was put out and people left, as well as you. But you didn't really notice that because you were asleep. So it had been raining previously. So the sides you can see that are a bit muddy, and there is quite a lot of runoff off of the roads to either side. As you head down about the 3-mile mark, you see a path off to the side. It is a well-worn path. It turns into it is stone, but then turns quickly into hard-packed dirt with muddy ruts in it. The ruts are definitely there from days and days past, and have been dried and re-wetted and dried and re-wetted. So they're old.
Any sign of footprints other than the ox?
No, you do not see any sign of footprints or anything like that.
Well, here we go.
See if we can find the spot she was mining.
All right, there are a lot of trees and shrubs, but it is very spread out here. And you can see you're kind of at a high hill advantage from where you're looking at as you go on to the side road. And you see that there is a lot of swamp area off in the distance. There's a valley to the left, and you also see off in the far distance to the left a stream, a river and stream, and a lake formation where the swamp soaks up much of that water and then filters it out, and then you have the bog plains that stretch out before you with shrub and brush and some straggly trees for quite a while. And that you can see off in the far distance of the valley, you see the foothills and forests of the beginnings of the incline up towards the mountain ranges.
Or even if it rained last night, we should be able to spot the ruts of her wagons. So we should be able to find out where she came from when she pulled up onto this road.
Yes, there are distinct wagon ruts that stretch out ahead of you, and they seem to be going pretty much in a straight path, and then curve slightly to the right, where you do see this strange occurrence of a steeped like layers of steps carved out of the mud off in the distance.
I tell Kene to mind the puddles.
But of course, you did get the worst of it yesterday, so we'll take some extra care to this time.
Much appreciated.
Well, when we get to the spot where we're going to start the dig, and first thing I want to do is do a circuit around looking for tracks. Just because I'm paranoid right now.
Okay. As you get up to the spot, you can see that very clearly there are cut marks in the ground, and they've been slightly dulled with the rain, but you can distinctly see that there have been slices into the ground at different levels that have cut this, that seem pretty much the same size height-wise of the bricks or like 2 or 3 of the bricks that were cut out. Silverthorn, as you look around, you want to roll a perception check?
Ooh, the first die roll of the evening. How fun.
That would be a... Wait a sec, where is it? 20.
All right. You notice that there are some patterned stepping around the area in the muddier areas that are not where the peat is, but there are several areas that have soaked up a lot of water, and you can see that there are tracks within them.
Are they similar size and shaped tracks to what the mud methods made last night?
Though the rain has washed away the crisp nature to the track, yes, you can definitely tell that there's been these mud creatures in the area.
Hey guys, I see some tracks here that may have been made by them mud creatures.
Oh, shite.
All right, well, I have my cotton crossbow out. Now I'm looking around going, where the hell are they?
So as you look around, and Silverthorn, as you kind of follow the natural trail of the prints, the footprints from these creatures, you look off into the distance and down a ways along the different trails where these creatures' footprints go. You can see a few small, muddied, goblinoid figures down the way. They are hundreds of feet away, but you can see them through all the shrubbery and things.
Same color as the ones we ran into last night?
Because of the low, steady slope of the bog.
The same color as the one we saw last night, or more like real goblins?
No, they're definitely similar. From what you can see, I mean, they're kind of far off, but you can see basically size and how they're walking around all clumpy and awkward.
Lovely.
And they have no way of communicating with these creatures either.
No, you don't, because you don't. Whatever, if they speak a language, you don't recognize it.
And how many do I see?
You just see 3, and you see them. They are walking away down the area towards a giant pool of rain runoff, and they're kind of booking it. So you suspect, based on these tracks, that perhaps the crisper ones in the area were made very recently, and they run off down that trail towards where they are.
Now, the crisper ones, is that consistent with the number 3 or consistent with a larger number?
It's hard to tell, but you would say at least 3. And as you're looking around, you also see something peculiar. You see what looks to be a elegant footprint of perhaps an elven female, but she seems to be a very tall elven female.
Ah, well, I happen to be... Humanoids is my favorite enemy. Can I check to see whether or not it actually is an elven footprint?
Oh, yeah. That tipped you off that you were like, oh, this looks very similar to mine, except it seems slightly larger. Yeah, if you want to...
That would be 15.
You definitely believe this to be a elven footprint that has been made, and it has been very recent, probably similar time to the creatures that walked around, but you don't see a tall elf anywhere.
One final thing before I tell everyone else what I'm seeing. Is the elven footprint walking or running?
Kind of looks like skipping.
Okay, that's disturbing. Hey guys, I see what looks more of those mud creatures up ahead. Got tracks for at least 3, maybe more, and what looks like an elven footprints of somebody who's skipping, heading the same direction, over that way.
Well, that can't be good.
So,
What would your kinfolk be doing dancing around with these mud spirits?
Someone had to call him. That would be my guess.
Like a child playing a game?
Don't ask me. I ain't never seen nobody skipping around these sort of things. Also, it's a bit tall for my kind of folk.
Curious. I'll have a look at the footprint as well, see if I can determine why it would be so large to, or out of proportion anyway.
Okay, as you look at the footprint, you can see that it seems thinner than a stockier humanoid like a dwarf or a human, but it does still seem kind of large, even though it seems elegant and thin.
Are we talking like twice the size of it should be, or?
You would say That is pretty big. It's not it's not twice the size, but it is.
Okay.
It's noticeably larger.
Hmm.
Well, I don't think we can start digging with that stuff out there, so I'm going to draw my bow, notch an arrow, and start following the tracks, trying to stay in cover with it as much as I can through the trees.
Do you want the rest of us to come with you?
Well, that'd be nice, but Silverthorn isn't thinking to say that out loud.
Give us a moment to get our things, and we'll come with you. You know, no need to go by yourself.
Okay, she'll stop and wait.
Okay.
But we gotta make sure the wagons are set so they don't want nothing. None of that wanders off, and we got to grab our equipment. You know, there's a method.
I'll instruct my badger to watch the wagons for us.
All right.
I will pet Drew and rub his forehead and, you know, ask him to guard the wagons. I'm sure he'll let the badger know if anyone's coming around. And I will grab up the shield and battle axe. And this time I'm taking the crossbow, and the halberd will stay here because I can't carry all that. Hand axes will go in the belt. Now I'm ready. Let's go.
Nate, I'm going to tie my horse because a horse in a fight's not a good thing. So
Okay.
unless it was a battle horse. So
Yeah, I'm definitely going to hobble the mules so they don't wander off, but give them enough so that they can graze, or
yep.
if there's no grazing to be had, then a bag of oats or
Okay.
whatever it is we have.
Yeah, there's some shrub and grass around the area.
Same. All right, let's go.
Shit, I knew coming here was a bad idea.
I assume at this point the methods have got out of sight.
Yes, they've gone quite a while, and they were picking up the pace by the time you noticed them.
I'd start following their trail and keep an eye out if the two trails split off at any point. At the elven footprint and the methods.
All right, well, you don't see the elven footprint as much, but every once in a while you see it, but it has been stepped over quite a bit from the different methods that were stepping on it in that area. So it seems to be a good amount of methods, but you cannot tell necessarily how many. It could have been those just walking around looking for choice mud. You're not really sure, but...
The fact that her footprints disappears and the smaller creatures' ones don't, I'm starting to think possibly she's not exactly a normal elf.
All right.
Keep trying to follow the trail.
We're following the ranger because this is her expertise.
Ranger, mud hunter.
I'm kind of lagging in the back, trying to find the driest path not to get dirty.
Okay. There are sides before it, there are a few places where you have some drier ruts that run up high where you think you can place your footing and not to be too bad. But it is a bit muddy. You all are noticing that you're having a bit of difficulty walking around because of the how muddy it is here.
So you're saying this is difficult terrain?
It's getting close to. If it gets much worse, it's going to be difficult terrain.
Good thing I can ignore difficult terrain.
There you go.
Important safety tip. Go ahead.
And anyone who's traveling with me also gets to ignore difficult terrain.
Wow. You're pointing everywhere they should walk. That's good.
Yeah. Define with you. How close do we need to be?
The Unearthed Arcana article doesn't say.
You're with me. You see where I'm stepping?
Difficult terrain doesn't slow your group's travel. That's all it says.
Oh, well, that seems pretty definitive then. We're all covered.
Yep.
And we can't become lost except by magical means.
Oh, you had to say that.
All right, so that's the qualifier, I see. So as you're walking, Silverthorn is picking out the best areas to step, and you're going along with her as she kind of directs you as you're all walking. Yes?
Sorry, I just want to make sure that we're looking behind us, too. I don't want to get snuck up by something that hid or coming up behind us. These things are just, I'm a little jumpy too, so.
All right, well, you do look around, and you do not see any sign of things.
All right, just want to make sure you were unaware that I was doing that.
I'll keep that in mind. So as you're walking, you do notice the terrain is getting a bit more difficult, and there are less and less places that are easy to step that will make it easy for traversing the area. And you saw the Mephits kind of run around curve, and as you come around the bend, you no longer see them, but you do see a muddy pool where all the rain runoff came to, and that is rippled, as if something has recently disturbed it. And if you'd like to see that muddy pool, I'll show it to you.
Since you're going to show it to us, I assume it's going to be significant.
No.
No, pay no attention to that there.
I make muddy pools in bogs for fun all the time.
Hey, what you do on your own time
Oh, lovely. So we have a big muddy pool.
All right, everybody can see that?
Yeah.
Oh, Bard, that's funny. Why are you scared of a big puddle? Oh, I think you know. So there are ripples along the surface.
Oh, shit.
Well, pick up a rock and toss it in and see what happens.
Okay.
As I see the rock fly over my shoulder, I cringe.
And I ready my crossbow.
Yeah, I've got my crossbow out too already.
All right,
You've
so...
never heard of
Oh,
curiosity.
my God.
I watch Game of Thrones. I know what happens. When you keep throwing rocks at stuff.
Oh, ripples in muddy waters. Scary time. All right, so everybody's got they're at the ready. They're concerned that the Mephits have disappeared, and all that's left is ominous ripples in a pool of mud. Well, as you throw that stone and it lands, it goes ploop, and right around where it plopped, you immediately start to see the emergence of the spiked crown upon the head of a person. And as that person gets out, it looks to be they look like they're actually hopping onto a boat or something like that in the middle of the mud and simply pushing themselves out of the mud. What you see before you is a very tall, yet lithe-framed young woman. She seems to be entirely coated with mud, with a strange, muddy crown upon her head. Though the crown is muddied, it does look jagged and sharp. And she seems to be having the suggestion of that she is not nude, but simply wearing clothes that have been plastered with mud to her body. Easily showing off the graceful, elegant curves of a fae, similar to an elf, but she is about 7 feet tall. So she is unlike any elf you've ever seen. She stands upon the mud, walks around a little bit. It seems that she sinks about an inch or so into the mud and holds her weight, aside from the area which she climbed out of. And she does a bit of stretching and looks around, then quickly turns around. Some mud flings from her matted down hair as she turns to you and goes, "Greetings, what are you here for?"
What is she speaking?
She is speaking common.
Oh, interesting.
You are in the house of Modir Drula, and you're scaring my children.
Yeah, your children caused a wee bit of damage in the town. And that's a bit of a problem.
She looks off to the right and looks like she's just kind of glancing around. And her mouth is moving, but she is not speaking to you. And then she turns back to you and tilts her head to the side a bit. Gracefully reaches her arm up and kind of sweeps in the whole area with her arm motion and says, "None of my children have been out of this area for a very long time. You must be speaking of something I do not know of."
Interesting.
Nate, do
Yeah.
I know who this person is?
Yeah, I was just going to ask, what's Modir Drula? Does anybody recognize it?
Well, we've kind of got an idea of what it looks like. You know that
Yeah.
Modir Drula sounds very familiar to what some people call this bog. Bard. You have definitely seen in the books that this place is called Modir Hastrula, which is kind of a strange name for a bog, but it must be some kind of language that you don't know.
Who has those crystal things we found last night on the mud methods?
Would I have any knowledge of her being a fey creature? Would I have any insight into that, having spent time in the Feywild?
You do have insight into that, and I would say that you understand her to be one of the Fae, and you believe that the coincidence between what this bog is called and what she called herself is not very much of a coincidence.
She is the bog, then.
She may very well be, based on your limited... Though you've been in the Feywild a while, you still have a limited understanding of what the Fae really are.
I think... sorry, go ahead.
I wanted to let them know that I believe that she's part of the land.
I think Bard has those amulets because he was researching them.
Yeah, can I go ahead and show her them and see if that's anything that her children, as she calls them, would have?
As you take them out, she's been looking around, kind of ignoring you all, and her head snaps forward, again, mud flinging from her long hair, and she starts to do a skipping motion quickly over to the edge of the mud pool and holds out her hand for them and smiles at you.
I'll give her one of the broken ones and let her examine it.
Okay. As you do that, she not so accidentally caresses your hand, but what's left behind is just simply moisture. It doesn't seem like she actually, even though she looks like she is absolutely coated in mud, she did not get any on your body. But it does feel like you've just been touched by something smooth and wet.
I would have been wearing leather gloves.
Oh, well then you think that she just touched your hand on accident.
Okay.
But you don't have any mud on you. So she examines it and says, "Oh, I have seen these before." And she's kind of skipping around this mud pool. Which is kind of strange it's still elegant, but it is strange to see a 7-foot-tall creature do this.
Where have you seen them? Who do they belong to?
I've got an idea. I don't have many visitors. How about we play a game, and if you win, I'll tell you. When she says game, when she says game, she's like ecstatically stretches out her arms and has a smile on her face and is like twirling around.
It's hard to be fair.
What happens if we don't win?
Come on, where's your merry spirit, guys?
If you don't win? Well, you're going to try, aren't you? How do you know the game has losers? She does with her little head tilt.
All games with the Fae have losers.
She smiles at you and goes, "A wise dwarf, you're on to our tricks, aren't you?" And again, she goes back to kind of doing a little half-hearted frolic in the mud pit. So she's kind of seems like she's trying to clean the thing. As she's looking at it, she's like rubbing off the top layer with her hand. She says, "I have definitely seen these around. I've seen whole ones, and broken ones, and cracked ones." And you see the muddy crown she has. She actually touches in between her fingers and scrubs it a bit, and you can see a jagged crystalline shard tied into whatever the crown is made out of. And one of those crystalline shards is clearly similar crystal. Gambit, you notice right away this is very similar crystal. You can tell just from that little bit exposed to the discs.
So does it appear to be something that she's gathered and adorned herself with then, or?
Yes, if you think if all the rest of them are just mud coated, then yeah, you would think that she has probably. Your jeweler's eye estimates that she probably has broken 5 of these and just decided to ornament herself with it.
A beautiful display.
She stops skipping and goes, "Thank you. I made it myself. It took quite a bit, but foolish people giving me gifts." And the one that you gave her, she then cracks. And cracks again with her hands and starts putting it into the backhand. It's like, and you can tell she's really trying to get it just right as she's talking with you. It's like, and now it's finished. This is wonderful.
If we're going to play a game, I suggest we at least put the wager on it.
Oh.
Well, why would we play a game? I had you look at that. I didn't give you that. You just took it. Why not give us the information for the amulet, since you like the amulet?
Well, I do like it, but that wasn't the trade, dear. And if I was just to look at it, you could have just held on to it. I felt no resistance. It was as if you said, "Please take it from my hands." And she goes back and just kind of looks around. And it's like, "All right, so are we agreed we'll play a game?" As she claps her hands together, it is kind of like a muddy, wet slap.
What are the rules of this here game you're proposing?
Well, she pauses for a good 20 seconds. Some of you may uncharitably consider that she is making up the rules right now.
That thought hadn't crossed my mind.
While she's doing that, kind of look to Gambit and ask if there's anything he knows about the games that they play, like pitfalls we should look for.
You might as well just play along and have a good time, because in the end, we're pretty well screwed either way. We're gonna have a good time. We're gonna find out.
First rule, you must stay within the ring.
What ring?
Well, the ring around the mud pool here. And you can see that the mud pool is kind of in the shape of a circle. It's a little oblong, but it is kind of like a circle pool.
All right.
She pauses for another, what seems to be 15, 20 seconds. And she says, and you must all fight me.
That's not how we make friends.
Well, silly boy, you can't hurt me. But we will fight. It'll be a rolling brawl. I've heard that in the city they do these things in taverns and such.
She's not wrong about that.
And you can see her kind of stretching and moving around. It's anybody that has knowledge of nature or the way creatures move, like any anatomy stuff or anything like that, you can just assume whether or not you've had it. You know that she looks like she is imitating stretching rather than actually stretching for the purpose of it. It looks a little off and strange.
Well, I rolled a 1, so it looks perfectly natural to me.
All right. Well, she just looks like a mud-covered 7-foot-tall elf. I mean, she could be one of your kin as far as you're concerned. She is as natural as wild elves, and you don't get much more natural than that.
Is that all the rules? Just stay in the ring and fight you?
Isn't there a cleaner option? I don't really see. It's just a mud pit.
And there was a bit about a wager as well.
Oh, wager. Well, if you lose... if you lose, you will have to give me something that I consider valuable. And if I lose, I will tell you the information.
Well, this doesn't seem like it's stacked right. She's already said we can't hurt her, so that means we can't win.
I think we'll need to have something that we find of value as well, whatever it may be.
Well, don't you want to know things? It seems like you're at a loss. I mean, you're at the mud pit at the end of the trail, so to say.
Perhaps we have questions that we could have answered for you as well.
You put no value in the information. It's only a game for you at this.
Silverthorn drops her arrow and her quiver outside the ring and steps in.
Okay.
Wait, are we allowed to use weapons? Or no?
She doesn't
Silverthorn,
have. You know she does not have anything upon herself except maybe wet clothes.
Oh, one other thing. Silverthorn also leaves her griffin feather outside the ring. She figured anything she brings in, she might lose. So,
as she sees that you're going to step forward, as soon as you step into the mud, she goes, "Excellent, the first player," and she claps her with a muddy slap again, and you hear a whole bunch of plopping sounds and blah 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 blah, and you hear that strange voice again, as from all around you in a ring of mud, all these goblinoid-looking mud creatures appear.
Oh, shit.
And you are all within the ring of these creatures.
Ah, you brought spectators.
Goo.
Yes, they'll make sure that you all stay in the ring.
okay, I obviously misinterpreted what ring meant, but that's to be expected when you're dealing with the Fae.
I think she probably meant that to happen.
Oh, so I don't have to go in the mud. I can stay here.
Yeah. I'm sorry.
This got so much better.
Okay. So between all the different things I've seen so far, and between last episodes, I'd like to give you all inspiration because I feel like you're playing your characters very well, and I didn't want to just give it right after Kane said his piece, but I was really impressed. So I want to just say, detrimentally as well as Bard, the first thing you're thinking of, it's just hilarious that it's like, all right, I don't have to get in the mud pit. It's great. All right, so Silverthorn, you have entered the pit, but though you saw her walking upon a small bit of mud, it is not a small bit of mud as you step in. You are up to your mid calves in soupy, sloppy, slurchy mud.
So you're saying it's difficult terrain?
It is difficult terrain.
I ignore difficult terrain.
It is still difficult terrain.
Difficult terrain does not ignore you.
Yes.
Remember that whole magical meme thing?
Oh yeah, magical mud. I forgot.
Be right back, Nate.
It's always the magical mud.
Well, I'm going to wait for her to make the first move.
Okay.
Well, since we don't have to get into the mud to be in the ring, that means I don't have to get rid of any of my weapons. And I've already got this crossbow, so as soon as she moves to advance toward us, I am holding my action to fire the crossbow at her.
So basically, as soon as she moves, you're gonna shoot her.
Yeah, and I'll say she'll probably hear this, but I'm gonna just kind of softer for the group. If anyone stays near me, I can make it more difficult for them to hit you. Part of the shield wall and all. Just in case, for maneuverability's sake, we have a chance to do that.
Okay. Well, I think we should all roll initiative to start this game off.
Sure.
So she did just say it was a game.
Yeah, except being a game to you and to being a game to the Fae, vastly different things, perhaps. So let's just try and get out of here alive.
So, Silverthorn, are you waiting for her to make the first move?
Yeah, but Kelly got a higher initiative anyway.
Okay. So, whoever is waiting, just let me know as we go through the initiative.
I'm waiting, but then again, it won't matter.
I mean, because it's the Fae, I'm not sure whether I'm supposed to go hand to hand, whether it's supposed to be weapons. I'm just confused and worried.
Yeah, Silverthorn, you are a little worried that she only told you the rules she felt like telling you.
I'll ask her, was it the bare knuckle brawl you were looking for with all of us?
Why do you ask such questions? Right now,
Well, I'm wondering if you want to use our axes and picks or not. That's all.
Oh, you may go ahead.
I don't care if she wants it. I'll feel better using my axe. I can tell you that for sure.
If we're going to play a game, it may as well be fair now.
Well, of course.
No.
I'm not using any weapons.
There is no such thing as a fair fight.
Well, since she said she's not using weapons, when we get to 19, I will act.
All right. Anybody that goes before 19, go right ahead.
Question, Nate, because Kelly doesn't know this. Because if I try to cast a spell,
Yes.
is it obvious?
People are going to see it.
Okay.
Unless you...
Never mind.
Because you're a sorcerer, right?
Yeah.
If you were second level, you could use the careful meta magic, but you're not.
Got it. Okay, never mind. I'm waiting.
Okay. All right, 19.
Well, occasionally with the Wild Elves, we'd have had some wrestling matches, so I'm going to try and run up to her and grapple her.
The entire way you're running towards her, she's laughing. Like, this is fantastic.
But is she still there when I get to her?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Almost as like she's going to give you a hug.
And I don't know what I'm supposed to do for grappling, but
You can do athletics and strength. I mean, athletics and your athletics and your strength modifier.
okay, that would be a 15.
Okay, that'll hit her.
Okay, then what do I do?
Then let's say I'm going to try and oppose you. You want to roll a athletics check, and I'm going to try and oppose you.
Okay. Ooh, even better. That's a 17.
You match it and win, right?
Sounds good to me.
Okay.
So if I've got her grappled, as I understand it, I could throw her to the ground.
Yes, you can.
Then I will do that.
Okay.
And in my mind, I've won.
Okay, you throw her to the ground, and
still, holding on to her.
wait, so you're like wrenching her to the ground?
Yeah.
Okay, well, as you wrench her to the ground, while she was standing on the mud previously, she just flows into it. And you lose track of her as you're doing this big wrenching motion. So...
Then I come up on my knees and go, I won! I won!
So she pops back out of the mud, and as you're doing the I won, she grabs around your waist and throws you over the back of her.
Suplex City.
I yell shenanigans.
She deals 3 damage to you as you get plopped into the mud.
Oh, that's 1/4 of my hit points. I think I'm done.
Okay.
Can I make it there within the action, like within the standard movement?
Yeah, you can.
I was going to attempt the grapple as well, but seeing as it didn't go so well, as I'm walking up, I will do Shield of Faith on myself.
Okay.
And get in a defensive posture as I will take my full action to do that.
All right. Next.
So I'll meet her pretty much and get ready.
Okay, she pretty much has just finished spinning back around from throwing Silverthorn over her shoulder. And you know that once you enter the mud pit area, it is quite difficult. It is hard to move around.
And I'm only 2'9" or 2'10" or something like that, so I might be in trouble here in the mud.
It comes up to Silverthorn's mid-calf. So you're like up to your waist, I guess. How tall are you? You're only 2 feet.
I'm less than 3 feet tall.
Yeah, it's like mid-thigh on you. Let's say that. I'm trying to think about if it was a 3 foot tall person, where would this mud be? Yeah, so let's say it's up to your knees. So it's still quite hard going, but you're in there.
Pretty high. Yeah. That's my turn.
Okay. Next.
I'm gonna move over to is Kenny in a spot that's like outside the ring. He says outside the ring, but away from the ring a little bit.
I'm not in the mud at all because I didn't want to get in the mud. I have my crossbow out, so.
So
Yep.
there's 2 rings. There's the mud pit ring, and
Not
then
in that.
there is the mud method ring.
All right. Well then,
You are all
nothing.
within the mud method ring.
All right. I'll move over to Kenny and try to form a little shield wall, I guess. And then I'll try to hit her with a sacred flame.
Okay. You do hit her, so you can roll damage.
Sacred. Do I add anything to that? Sorry, I have to ask.
No, it's just a straight damage.
Straight D8.
Yeah. Later, some domains allow you to add your wisdom modifier, but right now, no. You just roll a d8.
All right, then I got a 3.
All right. The flame bursts similar to how the mud meth hits, but it seemed to have singed some of her hair, and some of the mud around it is crackling and like flaking off as it's dried and moving. All right, next. Is that you, Kene? Or
Yeah,
Arrow?
I'm firing the crossbow, curious to see if it has any effect, since it seems that she's made of mud. I'm not sure how effective this will be, but I'm holding the bow, so I might as well fire it. 17.
That hits.
Uh, 6 points of damage.
All right. The crossbow.
Or apparent damage.
The crossbow strikes her, and it sticks into the muddy muck, and you can see that she gives kind of a frown and flicks it off of her, like pulls it and flicks it off.
Hey,
And for my movement, I'm just going to reload.
Okay.
how far away is she from us? From us on the side?
She is less than 20 feet away. But
Okay.
five of it is difficult terrain, no matter who you are.
Okay. What does that mean practically?
Okay, that means 25 feet of movement.
Okay, that's fine. I have 30-foot speed, so I'm dropping my crossbow that I had out, but I'm going in there. I want to use. This is going to be interesting. I want to try to grab her crown.
Okay.
I want to try to do that. Use acrobatics and grab her crown.
All right.
Since that seems to be the thing that she values the most.
Okay. Make an attack roll, I guess, and use your acrobatics.
23.
Wow.
17 roll.
Yeah, you definitely snatched that crown off of her head.
And then I'm just backing off, holding that.
Okay.
Since I can't, I don't have any more movement left, so I'm like not very far from her.
No, you're pretty much just out of her. Well, as you so you get to back off 5 feet. So
Yeah.
as you come in, snatch the crown off her head and just kind of juke to the left. You hear her like gasp and scoff, and I think that hits the 23.
23 hits.
As you're leaving the area, she gives you a boot to the back
Okay.
of the behind for 6 damage.
Okay. Ow.
It's like, that's not... She says, that wasn't part of the rules at all. And
That was my rule.
Yeah, you never said it wasn't part of the rules.
Exactly.
and you go, and you can hear when Bard's, between that two things, when Bard says that, she laughs all high pitched again, like, that's right. And Gambit, you can see she makes a split-second decision about what to do to you. And she reaches down and attempts to get you in some kind of head, like grabbing you around the head and lifting you out of the mud. 19?
You want me to do athletics against
Oh,
that?
actually, I rolled a 19, so 24. You can do.
Oh yeah, that's a hit. Well,
you can do acrobatics if you'd like.
okay, it's gonna be she would have got it.
Okay,
Yeah.
she got 15. So a post check.
Yeah. Check here. It's on my other sheet. Yeah, she would have got it. Anyway.
Okay, all right. So she snakes up around you, grabs you around the neck, and lifts you out of the mud. And you're finding it hard to breathe. She's not suffocating you, but she is making it... Well, I mean, she wants to really get grabbed around the neck by a 7-foot-tall person and squeezed. So it feels like that. But she easily has lifted you into the air. You are now 5 feet above the muck.
So that's her turn then.
Yes. So it's now top of the order?
So I guess that's me again. Unless you want me to go when I went.
Oh, you know, when you're readying or holding yourself, you kind of like stick yourself in that new initiative.
Right. So I'm probably at whatever, 15 or 14 or something like that.
Okay. All right. So 19, Silverthorn.
Okay, so I think I'm right behind her. Is that correct?
Yes, you're right behind her. She is kind of
Would we have her flanked at this point, or not really since I'm grappled, but before I was grappled, we would have had her flanked, right?
Yeah. At this point, you don't really have any combat advantage over this person.
Well, I'm right behind her though, Nate. So I am threatening her, right?
Oh, okay. So you left her threat range.
Oh yeah.
And so she gave
I'm
you a
less than
kick.
5 feet. Yep, you're right. Sorry.
Yeah. So she gave you a kick away, and so Silverthorn, she went to grab Gambit and hold him up. So you're currently on her right side, but she's pretty much like right there with you. So all you have to do is stand up, and you could do something.
Yeah, I'm going to give that unarmed combat a little bit more try before I make a break for my bow again. So I'm going to stand up and try and kidney punch her.
Okay.
And that would be an 8.
She doesn't try and dodge, and your hand just kind of slaps against her. It wasn't. Maybe your footing was off or something was off, but you didn't. That wasn't much of a love tap there. Beyond that. So she kind of looks kind of disapproving at you as she's choking out Gambit. And then she looks around for like all the other threats that are going on. You can see her whipping her hair back and forth and mud spraying all over the place.
Well, I'm just basically going to stay right there because I don't want to get hit when I try and run away.
Okay. Next up, anyone after a 19?
Who's after? Is that
Rick's Bard's next.
All right, Bard.
All right. So she's not damaged at all.
Well,
Essentially,
you guys have been hitting her with stuff. Well, you did hit her. You did hit her with Sacred Flame. Some other people have hit her. You're not sure because it's hard to tell with her what's actually going on.
right?
But some of you are making connections, and some of you look like you're at least irritating her, if nothing else.
All right. I think I'm gonna go ahead and cast Guiding Bolt.
Okay.
At her.
All right. That is an attack roll.
Does a 17 hit?
Oh, definitely.
Nice. What do I need? She takes 10 points of radiant damage, and whoever attacks her next has advantage.
All right. She kind of ducks her head and gets hit in the side with that, and you hear her let out a yeah kind of noise. It's a very strange noise, but it seems like she was shocked by what just happened.
That's a good sign. Keep at her then.
And she turns to look at you and gives you a scowl. It's like, you're not playing very nice. And
You got my friend in a headlock.
yeah, and she's doing this and kind of like getting ready to dodge other people's attacks and things. And all the while, Gambit is like kicking his legs, trying to get out of this headlock. And she seems kind of nonplussed. She's like, and it's part of the game.
Excuse me. Gambit should be able to try to get out again.
Yeah, on my turn, I'm going to go ahead. Is it my turn now?
Yeah, it's your turn.
Okay, yeah. I'm going to attempt to break that here. Just athletics.
I just rolled a 20. It's not happening. Unless you're
I got a 19 plus 4.
Well, she rolled a 20 plus 5.
Oh, there you go. There you go. All right, that's not happening.
So she did. You struggled mightily, probably the mightiest you could ever struggle, and she just kind of like just tightened down on you some more.
That spends my whole action, doesn't it?
Yes, because you're trying to escape something.
Okay.
You could.
So
well, you can't. Okay, the problem is you can't move.
Yeah, I'm suspended in the air.
And you're up in the air, and you're trying to break a grapple that someone's actively keeping on you.
Can I do some type of something with my mind as far as giving insight on her?
Oh yeah, you can absolutely use a skill. Yeah. So
I will try it. I want to get insight, like a nature roll or an insight or something like that.
Okay.
See if I can gain any knowledge about her.
Okay, just roll. You have insight and nature?
I'm not proficient with nature, but I'm proficient with insight.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure. Yeah, roll an insight.
That's pretty good. That's a 20.
Okay. You know,
total, like not natural 20, but 20 total.
You are definitely convinced that while she is holding you tightly, you think that with her strength that she held you tightly with, she could probably crush you. And she does, for whatever reason, seem to be not set on killing you all. So she probably definitely is one of the Fae, because she's doesn't have the hunger of a creature. She doesn't have the maliciousness of a demon. But she's...
I'm thoroughly enjoying the game as I'm getting smothered then. If that's the case.
Yeah, so you're not confident you wouldn't ever get killed by her. But you can see that she isn't interested in killing you right now.
I'm still trying to win, though.
Maybe she likes playing with her food.
Yeah.
There you go.
You could all float down here. All right.
Actually, Could I spend my inspiration to try that again? To try my athletics roll again?
Sure, but you rolled a 19. That's going to be kind of rough.
Oh, that's right, because she rolled a 20, didn't she?
Yeah, she rolled.
Never mind.
On the die, she rolled a 20. Yeah.
Never mind. I'll wait.
Yeah, unfortunately, your inspiration can't change her die roll. That would be cool.
If you had lucky, perhaps.
One day.
Yes. All right. I believe everyone's gone, so I'm going to have her go again.
No.
No?
No, Sean and I haven't gone yet.
Oh, okay. Gambit, you also taken 2 damage from her fighting you.
Ervin, is it your turn and you go before me?
No, it's yours. It's yours. It's yours, Sean, not mine.
Okay. Well,
I'm last before her.
There are too many of my friends right next to her for me to want to fire my crossbow. So it looks like it's time to get dirty. So just going to drop the crossbow, and as I move, I'm going to use all of my movement to try and get up next to her, but in a position to be able to provide cover to Erevan, since he has her crown. If he can get away with that, that might be a bargaining chip for later. So I'm going to try and give him cover if I can, but I'll swing with my axe when I get up to her just to try and distract her from choking out my friend over there.
Okay.
As he goes, I yell, "Don't leave me."
I'm sorry, lad. I'll be back.
So you're coming up to her then?
Yeah, I'm kind of moving up in a position so that I'm, I guess, next to her and kind of adjacent to Erevan as well. So that if she happens to strike at him, which doesn't look all that likely since she's enjoying choking out Gambit, but just in case, I'll be in that spot and use my 25 movement to get there, and then attack with the axe if I can.
Okay. So you do want to attack right now? Okay.
Yes. 16 on the die, plus 5, so 21, and 4 points of damage.
Okay. She quickly moves out of the way, and the axe gets along her shoulder.
Wow. I don't like her anymore.
And you can see that she's giving you that scoldy frown. And she goes, "You obviously don't know how to play." And with that, she spins in a circle. And Gambit, you are launched. Does a 16 hit you, Bard?
No.
Okay. Well, you're terrified as a very muddy Gambit goes sailing your way. Gambit, you land on the ground next to, kind of slightly behind Bard, and you take 3 points of damage.
So I sail over his head like a muddy football, pretty much.
Yes. And again, she makes that...
How much damage?
3.
Okay, I thought you said 13. Okay.
Oh, no, not 13. I think it was 3. We'll just say it's 3. And,
my turn.
She gives a kind of like a grunt as she realizes it's not hitting. All right, your turn, Erevan.
Missed.
I'm going to go to the edge of the mud bog, get the heck out. So I've got 25 foot movement. I can still have full action or an action after that, right?
Yes, you can.
All right, so I'm going to go up on the shore. I got the crown, but I'm like, I stop, turn around, and you see me get out of this, and you see I'm turning, like the places that you can see my body are turning blue, and I start chanting in Draconic and say, "That is enough, Witch Bolt."
Oh.
So you have blue Witch Bolt that comes out of my hand, going right at her.
That's going to go right over my shoulder.
Yeah, it should go past you.
Yeah, should.
15 plus 6, 21.
That hits. Oh, yeah.
And
Moridane weird.
Does D12 damage. 9 points of damage.
once she sees what you're doing, she says, "First you steal my crown, and now this." And she tries to get out of the way, but you slam her in the shoulder, and there's all this crackling, nasty energy kind of latched onto her.
Yeah, it's all blue lightning.
Yeah.
By the way.
All this blue crackling lightning, kind of biting at her and crawling on her.
Where did that come from? Is that another one of these? You turn your back for a moment and off.
Yeah, right in front of your face, Kenny is a big old crackling bolts of energy all over her.
Moridane's beard, this shiny. Oh.
That was my action. That's all I got.
Okay. Anyone else left to go?
No, I think that's it.
Okay.
Well, just as a phrase, my free speech, I say, "I'll face you, lass," and I make the motions of just getting ready to drop my weapons.
Okay.
Having sense that what she really wants is the hand to hand. So I'll make so that at least keeps her focus on me.
Okay. You hear she's kind of like cringing at the bolts and things. She says, "Facing, that sounds great." And you see her face come swiftly towards yours.
Oh, not what I had in mind.
Does a 17 hit?
No.
Even with your sword and shield out? I mean, your axe and shield out like this?
Oh, wait. With the shield away, it does hit.
All right. If that's okay, can we roll it as that?
Yeah,
okay.
That makes sense.
All right, so she gives you a vicious headbutt for 6 damage.
Holy shite. Well, now it's a proper brawl. All right, then.
And as you get hammered by her head, you definitely notice that while she looks to be made of soft mud, she is very, very dense.
Great.
All right,
Good to know now.
Top of the order now?
Yep. It's going back to 19, so that's
me.
Silverthorn.
Well, punching didn't work. I guess I'll try and grapple her again. Except this time, if I hold her, I'm just gonna. Well, let's see if I grab her first.
Okay, she currently has blue crackling energy, but you think you can grab a part of her that doesn't have that on it. She's big enough.
No, I don't think I'm going to get it. That's only a 10.
No, that's not going to do it.
Then I'll just stand right there.
Okay, so you're trying to get a hold of her, but it just doesn't happen.
I think it'd be much better with the bows, but the weapons don't seem to be a part of the rules according to her.
Yeah, well, playing by the rules hurts like a mother.
All right, next initiative.
Next is, that was 19. Next is Gambit.
Okay. He's gonna pick himself up anyway out of the dirt, face first. And how far did she throw me?
She threw you about 20 feet out of the mud.
Okay.
So you are about 5 feet, 10 feet away from the ring of mud mephits.
I'm gonna stay with Bard. I'm right beside Bard, I think, right now. I'm gonna cast Sacred Flame as well.
Okay.
That seems to be working.
All right, you definitely did it.
Okay. That's a 7 damage.
All right. A part of her pops off, big bubble of mud pops off, and you hear her hiss again, like with an intake of breath between her teeth.
And I'll stay beside Bard and try to protect him best I can.
Okay. Bard, I believe it's you.
Yeah, Bard's next.
I'll look over and take a half step away from the mud cover, and then I'll yell to the Fey gal You've had your fun. We can't keep up this. Think we get the answer yet?
She kind of feels deflated when you say that. This hasn't nearly been enough fun. She gives you.
We
She gives
promise
you.
to come back and play again sometime. Next time we're in the area. That's all.
Well, not even that. We may have other questions too.
Just a little longer.
I owe you one, Lass.
Then she can.
Because he's weaving in front of you, trying to recover his wits after getting headbutted in the face.
She goes, "Oh, wonderful."
I'll take one for the team then. And with that, and so he tosses his axe back out of the mud pit and does the same with his shield, so that they don't get lost forever in the bog. That would not be right. Like, okay then, and he cracks his neck, and he's going to take advantage of second wind. Actually, no, not yet. He's got enough. He's not going to do that yet, but he is going to try. To punch her, is that just a straight up die roll?
Yeah, it's just a regular attack with. You could add your strength to that, your strength modifier to it.
Okay.
And your proficiency.
Okay. 20 total.
That hits.
And so die 4 for the punch.
It's technically 1 if you don't have any type of monk skills or.
Well, I don't have. There's no way for me to take unarmed combat or anything like that.
So
I am wearing chainmail gauntlets. Does that help?
It's 1 plus your strength modifier.
Yeah, it'll be 1 plus your strength modifier. Let's say.
All right, 4.
Okay.
That's respectable. So there you go, Locke.
So you give her face is kind of still down in your area, and you give her a sock right across the face.
Yeah.
And
all right, your turn then. As he's still weaving from being smacked before. Your turn.
So Nate,
yes.
My spell, as long as I keep concentration, I can keep doing D12 every turn. So
okay,
unless she breaks it. So I'm in Draconic again. I go, and you want some more fun, do you? 5 more points of damage.
You hear the intake of breath again as she hisses. And she attempts to grab the dwarf, but you have slipped out of her grasp as she tries to grab your hand and get you in some kind of attack and lock.
That's top of the order.
Yes. Something you noticed, Gambit,
Yeah.
is that you are currently feeling the press of movement behind you as the mud mephits have all kind of interlocked hands and have kind of shifted forward a bit. So they're kind of trying to shove you forward a little bit.
All right. There's no avoiding it.
So you do get pushed into Bard a little bit, and you kind of both get shuffled forward 5 feet.
Okay.
So the ring of mud methods is constricting.
It just got a little short. It just got a little smaller.
Uh-oh.
Yeah. So it's Silverthorn's turn if it's top of the order, Nate.
Okay, Silverthorn, you were up.
Yeah, I just reread grappled, and even if I were to grab her, it wouldn't do much. So I guess I'm going to try and punch her again.
Okay.
Yeah, punch.
Okay. You're missing that bow, aren't you?
Well, I was tempted to try and use the pommel of the dagger, but that might count as a weapon too. But without unarmed, I'm only going to 7, so that's not going to hit.
Okay, you got a 7. So yeah, she easily dodges out of the way.
I'm not good without my weapons.
It's the proper tavern brawl now. Just a bit of mud on the floor instead of the odd bit of food or peanut shells.
You may have noticed there ain't that many taverns in the woods.
Yeah.
The surroundings might be a bit different. There might be a few more mud methods than I'd prefer, but it's a straight-out tavern brawl. I've done a few of those.
I'm just saying, if this was back in tribal lands, I would have won when I pinned her.
Well, we're not in tribal lands anymore.
We're not in Kansas anymore, Toto. Anyway.
I was staying in character to say that. Thank you very much.
Gambit's turn.
I'll try an unarmed strike as well. I just rolled. Did a 20 hit a total?
Yeah,
hit?
a 20 hit. Yeah.
Okay. So you say it's 1 plus the strength modifier?
Mm-hmm. Or you could do dex if you wanted to.
No, so 5 damage.
Okay.
And that'll be...
Oh, that was.
I'll ask her in Sylvan. How long does she plan on keeping this up?
She said, "Oh, that was a lovely strike." And
well, give her a sporting chance anyway.
So that's Gambit. That's now it's Kenny's turn.
It's Bard.
Bard. Right?
Bard goes before me.
I'm sorry, my apologies. Yep, Bard.
I'll try to move a little bit forward away from the mud methods, but not into the inner pool of mud if I can.
Okay, that's not a problem.
I'll go ahead and cast Sacred Flame again.
Okay. Does a 15 pass?
Yes.
Okay, then it doesn't affect her. She got out of the way, and the spark is not right on her.
Now it's Kenny.
Okay. Kenny.
I'm sorry, Bard, unless you had something else to do.
No, I was getting ready to say then I'm done.
Is there a way to try and, well, shoot, never mind. She's part of the mud. Tripping her into the mud isn't really is a moot point. Never mind. Straight up bar brawl, and gonna take another swing. Another one for you, 19.
Wow.
That hits?
And it's just 1 plus strength modifier, so 4.
All right. You give her another punch in the ribs now.
All right, lass. Your turn. I'm ready for you this time.
24.
Oh, well. Yeah. Without my shield now, of course that'll now hit.
So she crouches down and gives you a stiff arm right in the head. And make a strength check.
I would love to.
DC 15.
All right. 17 total.
Ah. So you felt like that was gonna just knock you down, but you took a brief step back and steadied yourself against the mud wall, and she goes, "Oh, that was great, masterfully done," and she lifts her arms up and just kind of falls back into the pool and disappears.
Oh shit! Did that thing do any? Did that hit do damage to me?
Yes. 6 damage.
Oh well. then so what? Basically, as she falls back into the mud, I'm now at 0 hit points, and it just kind of.
Yeah, so
Yeah,
she didn't knock you back, but you're ready to sit down.
yeah. Well,
Like,
yeah,
oh.
I stay up long enough for her to have gone backwards into the mud and disappeared. I did the macho thing, and now I'm just gonna collapse. I'm down. Blah.
Erevan, you know your spell has ended.
Okay.
And you see a head appear out of the mud,
Yep.
very similar. And she's looking at Kene, and she gives out another one of those high-pitched laughs and smiles. And she goes, "All right." And she pushes herself back out of the mud as if she was just trying to get up on a tree branch or something. She stands up, and she goes, "That was lovely." And she claps, and she says, "Wasn't that lovely?" And all of the mud mephits say something and clap. And they're all like saying gobbledygook stuff. Erevan, are you still holding that crown?
I am.
You don't know if she said it again or if you heard the creatures say that it was basically like a gruff, gobbledy kind of. That was lovely. It was kind of like a mimicry of, "Oh, lovely, that."
Okay. Are you? Would you answer our questions now? Would you?
Oh, sure. That was fun. That was great fun. You won the game.
In that case,
trying to clear my head and not really with it. Ready for round 2 then. So he tries to push himself up and then just falls back down on his butt.
yeah, since I'm right next to him, I want to grab Kenny and pull him up so he doesn't drown.
Could you pull him over to me so I can stabilize him, please?
I got
Assuming-
plenty of that.
Assuming we're not in combat, I'll try and take the punch truck dwarf to you.
Hey Nate, while they're doing that stuff, I want to look at this crown since I have it.
Mm-hmm.
Is it appear to be magical? Does it appear to be anything other than just this crystal, or what?
It appears to be extremely dirty,
Well, obviously,
but well made.
Okay. And the pieces that she just took from the medallion that she just did are fused to this?
As you look at it, you're not sure exactly which pieces came from the medallion that she just broke up.
Wow. Okay. Just curious.
You can't, because you're just holding basically a circular braided ring
Right.
with crown points coming off of it. You can't really tell what are the new ones.
I was just curious since I had it in my hands. I was just checking it out.
She looks around and she says, yes, it's fair I should answer your questions. And I guess since you took that during the game, she looks at you and kind of scowls. You can have it. If I had taken anything, I would have kept it too. And she kind of gives like a little laugh. So, what are your questions? That is the end of episode 2, part 1. Join us tomorrow, same time, for episode 2, part 2.